The album that changed the course of the heavy metal history and laid the foundation for the development of speed metal, thrash metal, and multiple other extreme metal subgenres. Released on the 8th of April in 1977, Sin After Sin became the third studio album by the legendary UK heavy metal band Judas Priest. And so, just as we do with every Judas Priest album in the Defenders of the Faith series, let's take a look at some of the lesser known facts about Sin After Sin. Here you go. It was the first of 10 Judas Priest albums which were released on CBS Records and was a major step up for the band. After an official breakup with Gull Records, which resulted in the band losing its right to the first two albums, we actually covered that topic in the previous episode on said Wings of Destiny. So if you haven't yet, make sure you check it out. Judas Priest was invited to the musical Major League. The band received an impressive amount of £60,000 to record Sin After Sin. An impressive step up from the $2,000 they received for said Wings of Destiny. And in addition to that, CBS asked Roger Glover of Deep Purple to produce the album.
We just got together with Roger, it was just one of those things as a producer. It worked really well.
You see, for some reason, I always compared this part of the Judas Priest history, the late 70s and the beginning of the 80s, to a guy who is in his early tweens, when he is clearly not a teenager anymore, so he knows what he is doing. Yet for some reason he thinks that he is better and smarter than everyone else. And so the band actually fired Roger Glover of Deep Purple after a week of working with him, because they thought that they know much better how to produce an album that Roger does.
I am smart, much smarter than you.
Yet, as Rob Halford remembers in his latest autobiography book, Confess, after farting around, and that's actually a quote from the book, for 3 to 4 weeks and doing absolutely nothing, the band realized that they moved nowhere. And so, as uncomfortable as it was, they actually had to call Roger and ask him to come back. It is the first Judas Priest album to feature a cover song by the band. Yet that cover song was not supposed to be on the album.
I'll be damned, here comes your ghost again.
Diamonds and Rust, a cover on the 1975 hit by Joan Baez, was originally supposed to appear on said Wings of Destiny. Yet Gull Records thought that it is not good of a song to appear on the album back then. And so Roger Glover, together with CBS Records, actually saw this as an opportunity to introduce the band to a new wave of fans through the means of radio. Yes, Diamonds and Rust was the very first song by Judas Priest to be in rotation on a national radio in the United Kingdom. What actually helped is that the band did not simply pay a tribute to the Joan Baez hit, they made it a Judas Priest song. In fact, KK Downing says in his latest book that throughout the years he met hundreds of people who thought that Diamonds and Rust was a Judas Priest original. Well, can you blame them? And as I said in the previous episode, later on Gull Records realized what kind of hit did they miss. So they would actually release Diamonds and Rust original recording, which was supposed to appear on said Wings of Destiny as a part of the Rock'n'Rolla reissues. What? I actually got one of those over here, and I was wondering what you think of the early recording of Diamonds and Rust, and how does it compare to the version we all know which appeared on Sin After Sin? Let us know in the comments. Sin After Sin featured the first Judas Priest album artwork, which was designed by the artist Roslav Zajbo, who will stick with the band for the years to come. It actually features a mausoleum located in Putney Vale Cemetery in London, which was built in 1910 for Colonel Alexander Gordon. And it also happens to be the final Judas Priest album to feature the Gothic font logo, which was later replaced by the one we all know today. The album name Sin After Sin is actually derived from the lyrics of the song Genocide, which was released on said Wings of Destiny.
Sin after sin, I have endured.
And in such way, Judas Priest actually says hello to their previous label, Gull Records, once again. I mean, that and the breakdown in Sinner, of course. And while we're talking about the album's title and its religious subtext, I think there is one myth which we have to bust over here. For some reason, there is a myth that this album has been recorded in a women's monastery, which is not exactly true. It was actually recorded in Pinewood Studios, yet the band needed a place to practice, and so they actually did that in a monastery which was located nearby. Funny thing, Rob Halford actually remembers that nuns loved them, and they actually even invited them for 5 o'clock tea at some point. Rob Halford set in front of himself a goal for this album's lyrics to be on an absolutely new level. And so in between the recording sessions, he would sit all by himself as a lone wolf in a corner of the room in front of the book. And when Roger Glover finally came up to him and asked him what exactly was the book that he was reading, it turned out to be Roger's Thesaurus. And I think that all of us can agree that with Mr. Roger's help, Mr. Halford actually was able to take the lyrics on each one of the songs on this album to an absolutely new level. Yet there is one that stands out. In 1998, Rob Halford revealed that he was gay. Yet he actually tried to do that 20 years earlier.
Most people know that I've been a gay man all of my life, and that it's only been in recent times that it's an issue that I feel comfortable to address.
The song Raw Deal was meant by Rob Halford as a coming out song. And actually looking back at the lyrics, I have no idea how no one picked that up.
Nope, it's not going to say anything.
In Confess, Rob actually remembers the band saying absolutely nothing about it. Roger Glover saying absolutely nothing about the lyrics, and CBS Records saying absolutely nothing about it. Just read it. It's out there. And so the fact of Rob Halford being a homosexual will stay a secret for the next 20 years. Remember how in a previous episode, when we covered Sad Wings of Destiny, I said that that album actually marked the return of the third Judas Priest drummer, Alan Moore. And yeah, he was gone by now. Since the band could not find a permanent replacement, CBS Records actually invited Simon Phillips to record for this album. And actually the band loved Simon's work on this album, like we all do, and so they offered him a permanent position in the band. Yet, since he was not able to join Judas Priest on Sin After Sin tour right after the release of this album, he never became a permanent member of the band. And so a more or less permanent replacement for Simon was Les Binks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Les Binks, and I'll now pass you on to the vocalist.
And even though we cannot hear his drum work on Sin After Sin album, he actually joined the band on tour afterwards and did a masterful job on the follow-up, Stained Class. By the way, Stained Class episode is already out, so make sure you check it out. In fact, check out all the episodes from the Defenders of the Faith series. I mean, why not? Oh, by the way, Binks was the only drummer who auditioned for Judas Priest who was able to play the double bass, which was introduced by Simon on this album. The album's tracklist was not originally released the way that the band intended it to be. Originally, Judas Priest intended the song Let Us Pray to lead into Call for the Priest, and the song Raw Deal to be a completely stand-alone track. Yet the label switched that up and released Let Us Pray as a separate track and Call for the Priest as an intro to Raw Deal. I mean, honestly, if you take a look at the lyrics, none of this makes any sense, because Let Us Pray should have been a follow-up to Call for the Priest, and Raw Deal should have been a standalone track. Yeah, hit me. The original order, the order in which the band intended to release the album, was actually restored only in 2001 as a part of the remastered editions. And by the way, another interesting fact about Sin After Sin is that it was the first Judas Priest album to be remastered and re-released. Musically speaking, Sin After Sin opened the gates to new wave of British heavy metal sound, speed metal, thrash metal, power metal, and multiple other metal genres out there. On this album, Simon Phillips and later on Les Binks introduced the combination of the double bass drumming and rapid 16th note bass rhythms combined with rapid 16th note guitar rhythms by K.K. Downing and Glenn Tipton for the very first time. And this sound, in fact, became the backbone and the classical trademark sound for most of heavy metal genres which followed afterwards. It is now in the 21st century that we know Judas Priest by Painkiller, Riding on the Wind, and all the other amazing tracks which feature a kick-ass drumming work. Back then, there was nothing like it. And so when the band introduced that was in fact a breakthrough. And better than on any other track on this record, we can hear that on Dissident Aggressor. And it is for this song, almost 30 years later, the band received their first and for now the only Grammy for the Best Metal Performance.
And the Grammy goes to Judas Priest for Dissident Aggressor.
By the way, what do you personally think of Dissident Aggressor and all the other songs on this album? One thing that I'd absolutely love to hear is what is your favorite track from Sin After Sin? Let's see which one will win and which track from this album do Judas Priest fans consider to be the strongest one and why? Please let us know in the comments. While musically, Sin After Sin is clearly a follow-up to its predecessor, Sad Wings of Destiny, financially it was not. Sad Wings of Destiny actually received amazing reviews by the press, yet no one listened to that album. Sin After Sin, on the other hand, landed at number 23 in the UK charts and later on became the very first Judas Priest album, first of 11 consecutive albums, to be certified gold. It's enough to simply take a look at the amount of covers which were made on the songs released on this album, like Slayer with Dissident Aggressor, or Arch Enemy with Starbreaker, or pretty much any other song on this album. And in addition to that, it is the tour which followed this album which changed the way metalheads around the world looked. But this story is not really a part of this episode. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to produce another episode on Chains and Leather, which was introduced to the heavy metal world by Judas Priest, and there is still no consensus whether it was Rob Halford or K.K. Downing who invited that style into the heavy metal music. So guys, please do let me know in the comments whether an episode of such sort where we explore the influence on the heavy metal fashion Judas Priest had would make sense and would be of interest for you. I'm really curious to find out, and I would actually love to work on that one. Looking back at the Judas Priest history and overall history of heavy metal of that decade, I actually realized that it is Sin After Sin which might be responsible for heavy metal's victory over punk rock and opened the gates to the development of so many extreme music subgenres in the decade that followed. In addition, I'm simply torn when it comes to choosing my personal favorite track from this album. I mean, in one day it might be Dissident Aggressor, then it's Starbreaker. Or is it Sinner? Oh, maybe it is Diamonds and Rust. I'm not exactly sure, but please do let me know which one do you consider the favorite and the best track from Sin After Sin. I'm very curious to find out. And in addition, it will really help with the YouTube algorithm. So if you don't know how to start your comment, just start it like this. I think the best song from this album is... And while you're there in the comment section, please do let me know overall what you think of Sin After Sin. Is it overrated? Or is it really that influential and that significant for the heavy metal history? In addition, I'd really like to ask you to help me spread the word about this project by, of course, liking and commenting this video and sharing this video with other fellow heavy metal fans around the world. This will really help me grow. But most importantly, please do not forget to subscribe to YouTube channel, because I intend to do this about every Judas Priest album and release an episode on a day of its birthday. Thank you for watching and keep rocking!